So yeah, new ban list. What do I think about it? Not too bad, in all honesty. So yeah, if you've seen Dark Magician 84's ban list opinions video, then you probably heard a couple of my reactions, but since I was in a Skype call with about 6 other people, I didn't think my opinions came through quite as clearly as I would like, so I decided to do my own individual one where it was just me directly to the viewer, and pretty much expressing everything that I hopefully expressing everything that I can get out. So anyways, for the cards that are banned, we'll start off. We have Dragon Ravine, Return from the Different Dimension, Self-Destruct Button, and 6 Cents. So, Dragon Ravine, 5 words. Had to count that in my head. 5 words. Didn't deserve to get hit. To get banned, even. You know, I can understand how busted a card this is, because I did try Dragon Rulers for a little while and found myself really, really sucking with the deck, and so I just decided to scrap it. And I have a Blue Eyes deck, but I didn't run Ravine in it, because I figured it probably would get hit by the ban list. I didn't think it'd get banned. And most people didn't think it would get banned, because it really doesn't deserve to get banned. I mean, if you want to hit Dragon Rulers, and that's fine. If you want to bloody kill them and just ensure they never be a separate deck again, then go for it. But putting Ravine to 1 is not the way to do it, because this kills Dragonities as well. And if you're going to reprint Vajrayana in Battle Pack 2 Round 2 and then just ban Ravine, thus almost effectively killing the deck, like, what the hell? Economy, that is not a good move to make. I mean, yeah, sure, you're reprinting High Priestess and Big Eye in that pack, but the point is, if you're going to reprint certain cards, you want to actually make sure that they're usable. Vajrayana is probably not going to be. I think all this is really going to do for Dragonities, though, is if they do not open with their stuff immediately, then they're going to pretty much lose. Ravine just made sure that they opened up pretty damn. It made a shit hand really, really good. But I don't think that was at all any reason to ban the damn thing. It really wasn't. It was just so stupid. So I don't even know. Anyways, on to the next card. If this stupid thing would load. I'm running Camtasia, so obviously if it's gonna take this much to load. Anyways, Return from the Different Dimension. If you see the ban list and you say, I called this, then you deserve a smack in the back of the head. You cannot call something if it is obviously going to happen, and in this case, it's something like this. Part of me does sort of lament the loss of this, in all honesty, because I did have a bit of a awesome source play where I could just put Blue Eye Shiny Dragon on board, Azure Eyes, Thunder, and wipe the opponent's monsters and do stuff, and it all pretty much stemmed off of this, but aside from that, I really don't care. And like I said, only part of me is lamenting this. I still think this thing deserved to be banned, is all bloody shit. If anything, they need to release something a bit more balanced, like you pay half your life points, special summon as many of these monsters, but like you can't like special summon or something, or skip your battle phase or something. If you're going to release something like this ever again, make sure you have those sorts of restrictions, because this obviously did not learn from its lesson, and so it has gone the way of its predecessor dimension, Fusion. So that's all I have to say about that one. On to the next card, which is a Self-Destruct Button. I would have individual tabs for these, but there are 23 cards that have been moved, so I'm not going to bother with 23 tabs, especially considering I've got those, and of course, all the other shenanigans in the background, so no point doing that. But anyways, Self-Destruct Button. When I saw this, I pissed myself laughing. The first time in a long time that a move on a ban list has actually made me genuinely laugh. And you know what? Considering how dirty this thing is, creating ties, the way that this... I didn't even know how the hell they could get away with making it a card like this. And I guess they've just realized that they couldn't escape it too much longer, and so have decided to give it the good solid ban hammer. I remember my mate having this as sort of like a backup strategy. If shit was going down the drain, he'd just play this and force a draw out of it. I think he only got it off once. I actually got pretty damn salty about it. Can't really blame me for that one. It's a pretty damn dirty sort of card, so it's one of those what the fuck bans, but at the end of the day, I think it is actually deserving of it. Some people might not think so, but it is a pretty damn dirty card, so I can't blame it. Then the final card which is banned, at least I believe so, yep, is well, not card appearances, thank you. This is the most unprofessional Banlist opinion video you will ever see. And I'm going to love it because of that. Anyways, Sixth Sense. I think the only real reason that they put this at 1 the moment it was released is just so us TCG players could at least have some time with it in our decks. Like, I know they could have easily done the same thing with Temple of the Kings, but they didn't. And I'm not too sure why they did it with Sixth Sense, but I don't know. The fact of the matter is, it's banned now. It's gone with the rest of the... It's gone with its OCG. It's buggered off. I think there's been enough fun with this deck as it is, with this card as it is, so... just about time to put it to rest, I'd say. So, yeah, that's about it for the banned cards. Now, there are a total of 10 cards going into the Limited. All of the Dragon Rulers... The Red Dragon, Magician of Faith, Divine Wind of Mist Valley, Final Countdown, Sacred Sword of 7 Stars, and Spellbook of Fate. Well then, I suppose I'll bring up Blaster as a reference. But yeah, anyways, Dragon Rulers going to 1. Some people thought it was going to go to 2, which wasn't anywhere near, like, obviously you could not... It's not exactly a situation where you would walk into a bar, say the Dragon Rulers are going to 2, and then get smashed the crap out of for talking shit. It's not that sort of situation, but I think it was a bit more deserving to be... I think it was a bit more deserving for them to be put to 1, to be blatantly honest here. Like I said, I tried the deck. I've gone up against the deck. Like, I lost to Dragoon Rulers at my last local. It's my only loss there with the Constellars, and they were just incredibly herp-a-derp. They clearly were never made to be an individual deck, only to be a support deck, and hopefully with them now being at 1, and with no baby dragons, and with none of the other crap around, it will finally achieve its actual purpose. So, there you go. Blaster, Blaster really is now pretty much stuck to potential larval plays, evols, if anybody decides to arbitrarily play that for fun. Battling boxes are going to get some stuff out of this. And that sort of jazz. Tidal, I can only really see that in mermails. And potentially frogs as well. Frogs might actually get some use out of this, like if you're going to play something incredibly crazy like a slushy deck or something like that, and just have some fun, you can always run a Tidal in there. Tempest I actually am a bit disappointed about, because Tempest was actually pretty good in the Mecha Phantom Beasts, which I had trialed out for a little while, and I actually really liked them, and Tempest was really good to have in there because it provided additional Sacred Sword targets, and now with it and Sacred Swords going to 1, I have to sort of try to work on something that will keep that deck a bit more consistent, because I do think that they're a pretty damn good deck. Like, they're not exactly the greatest thing out there, but I think that they're still pretty damn fun, and having Tempest to 1 sort of does slow them down a little bit, in all honesty, and especially with Sacred Swords. And then Redox. I had Redox in my Blue Eyes deck. I had 2 copies of it. It's not actually that big of a deal cutting it down to 1, because I just replace it with a Tempest, because I feel like one of each of those will help for Synchro and Rank 7 Exceed plays, if I can even fit the Rank 7s back in, because I know I took them out earlier, because I had double Redox, and the likelihood of having Rank 7s was incredibly low. But, yeah, Redox. Is there even anything that even runs Redox? I mean, I think Grand Sword Psychics run it, just to modulate Earths in the graveyard for the Grand Sword play. Not too sure how many Machina decks run it. I mean, for my build, I only had 1 teched, So for that deck, it wasn't even affecting it, because I only had one in the first place, but But, I think it's fair play to it all. No, not Debris. It's Debris. Debris Dragon at 1. It spent some time at 1 in the past, and it's going to kill some more time on its own as well. Whoa, God. You really have to bring up the ulti. You really have to use the ulti as default there. Ugh. Pointless nitpicking. Anyways, Debris Dragon at 1 is a bit weird. I didn't really think it was entirely deserving of that. But at the same time, it is still pretty damn good. It is a monster reborn of sorts. You know, you can go with the Debris Dragon. One combo I really like is going for Debris Dragon, pulling back a hand trap like a Max C or something like that, and then bouncing it for Zephyros, overlaying into a rank 4, which I've never actually gotten that off at any point in time. And with Debris Dragon at 1, I'm actually sort of like a bit dubious about running the one copy of it in something like a Chaos Dragon deck, which is the deck in which I thought up the idea. So it's just And I'm not going to take credit for actually thinking up the idea. I mean, many people would have thought this exact same idea. It's a really nice little combo. But, you know, I just like thinking it up myself and not learning it from somebody else, even though they probably thought up of it long before I did. But yeah, point is, Debris Dragon, I think for fair play, probably should be put to 1 at this point. Next card is, what have we got? Ooh, Magician of Faith. The one prodigal thingus that is coming back. Magician of Faith's 1. Now, I've actually did some testing with the new format already. I did some testing with Darkness in 1989. And in it, I have found that Magician of Faith performed quite... I actually felt it was quite underwhelming. I feel like this... I feel like this card is not going to be quite as grand as it once was, purely because of the fact that it's a flip effect, thus making it slightly slower. I think the only real deck that I can say for sure that's going to main this is Prophecies, because they can easily go triple Apprentice Magician and just basically make their own sort of... They can basically make their own pseudo tour guide engine. Basically, you just have those 3 apprentices plus the Magician of Faith. It does some pretty decent shenanigans. I mean, to be fair, you could also technically they could also technically tech in maybe a breaker or two, so they use use a token. They use their counter to pop a back row, and then get an apprentice on board and just generate another spell counter and whatnot. They can hit out some pretty damn hard. So I think that there are some positives out of this for Prophecy, especially since they only had the one hit, especially since they only copped the one hit in the form of Fate, which I'll be going through at the end. So I think overall, Magician of Faith, it definitely grants you an additional copy of whatever powerful spell card you have. Like, you know, if you run it in Dark Worlds, you have 4 Gates. If you run it in Evil Swarms, you have 4 Pandemics. You run it in Chain Burn, you get 3 Chain Strikes. I know people are going to be pissed off at that, because Chain Burn, my honest opinion on Chain Burn, it is a freaking scumbag deck. About half of the bloody Yu-Gi-Oh community would probably agree with me on this one, to be fair, but yeah. So I don't think it'll be as grand as it was before, but I still believe that it's going to be good and it's going to be used. I mean, I'm planning on using it in my Blue Eyes, since I had to make 1 or 2 slight little modifications to that deck. So the next card, Divine Wind of Mist Valley. Ooh, now I do like this one, actually. I like this one. This one, if the stupid thing would bother loading. I know, it sucks. But yeah, anyways, Divine Wind of Mist Valley, this is a bit of a lead that the OCG made that we followed. This was put to 1 at the OCG September, because of some really herped plays with like there was an FTK basically. It was I believe it was incredibly situational and not quite reliable, but it was still a thing. And of course, you know, there was a whole bunch of other stuff that could abuse the crap out of this. To get a free special summon with a field spell is a bit stupid, because I mean the field spell, it just occupies a random spot and you still have 5 free spots on the back row. That's one of the more annoying parts about this card being a field spell, because you just have the freedom of base. It's essentially just a still open back row, which can be annoying to the opponent, especially when you consider it's basically just like you just go Harpy Dancer, bounce it, Divine Wind, go for Channeler, pitch, get it Harpy's Pet Dragon, you have a first turn Dracosack. Now if your opponent does not, if your opponent is not a living active god and has Reptilian Vasquez, you should be fine with that, especially with a couple of back row. But yeah, Vasquez, like, it wasn't even a card back when Dragon Rulers were full strength. I don't see why it was. I sure as hell can understand why nobody ran it in this format, even though it wouldn't have been such a bad idea against the first turn Dracosack, to be fair. But yeah, I think Divine Wind it really needed to go to 1. It was just too stupid. Effect was just too stupid for it to stay at 3. It really was. Final countdown. Another Trollsy, not final countdowns. Yeah, another Trollsy deck copping a bit of a hiding here. I'm actually kind of liking the theme behind this, because yeah, final countdown was sure as hell a. I don't even know where to begin. This. Like, I don't even have any words for what the hell this card is. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, okay, this is kind of cool if you could make some kind of a deck that you could do shenanigans with this. Although, in all fairness, I was a bloody 12-year-old and didn't really know any better, and I was incredibly noobish, but now having actually copped up bloody hiding off of this, I'm glad to see this thing get put to 1. I mean, ideally I'd like to see it get banned, but ugh. 1's fine. I mean, now it's pretty much reduced to the point where one of my friends plans on teching this thing in Ghost Tricks, because Ghost Tricks was all about sort of like just stalling and sort of shit like that, so they could probably get some use out of that, which I sure as hell hope they don't, because I don't even just... it's going to be ugly. It really is. I'm just happy to see this thing get put to 1. Sacred Sword of 7 stars. You know what? In all fairness, I don't entirely believe that this thing deserved to get put to 1. I mean, if you want to put it to maybe like 2 or something, so that you just decrease the chances of drawing it, then I guess that'd be understandable. But I don't think it was deserving to go to 1, because, I mean, you only get 1 of them per turn, and it gets... yes, it gets a couple of draws, but if you're going to put the Dragon Rulers at 1, then there's really no reason for this thing to be going to 1. I mean, I suppose, like I said, if you want to put it to 2, then I guess that's fine, but with the Dragon Rulers gone, you might as well keep this at something... you might as well just keep, like, a considerable number of these, so that other decks can sort of take it, so that other decks sort of get... So some of the lower sort of tier decks, like Mecha Phantom-Beast, could probably get some good consistency out of running a couple of Sacred Swords, and now that they're stuck with just the 1, you know, it actually starts... It makes people wonder if they should even bother running triple Cal Griffin in their deck, which probably wouldn't. I mean, for me, it wouldn't be that bad an idea if the standard Mecha Phantom-Beast didn't run triple Cal Griffin, because I've only got the 2, but, yeah. Fair, but to be honest, I don't really think it was an overly deserving of getting put to 1. At least not now. Maybe it should have been, like, put to 2 here, then maybe put to 1 if it was still doing some stuff like that, and it's just like, nah, it's gonna go straight to 1, which is kind of weird. Anyway, Spellbook of Fate. Best move in terms of limiting stuff for this ban list, by far. This one, this is another goddamn dirty card. It's hard. The way it's worded is even more annoying. Because it just... Yeah, it doesn't even target. The banish effect doesn't target. It's a very, very annoying sort of get out of my face card. You don't get any of your bloody shit. It like, god damn it. You just see the name and most people will probably cringe at it because it's incredibly annoying. I am not indifferent. I am not indifferent to this. So I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. Ah, bloody hell! The wonders of unprofessionalism. But anyways, yeah, I can't say much more about this. Spellbook of Fate at 1 deserved it. Probably deserved to get banned, to be fair, but I mean, they're still going to get 2. They still technically have 2 copies of this if they're going to run the bloody Magician of Faith anyway. So it's in effect not really touched it in any way because I don't think anybody runs more than 2. Ran more than 2 anyways. So anyways, semi-limited. The Chaos Sorcerer, the standard, I guess, what should we call this, yo-yo of the Banlist. This is basically just Konami's sort of, we're going to put you here, then there, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then there. It basically, this thing has moved more spots in a ban list than Moltres has moved locations throughout the entire Pokemon series. I mean, this is ridiculous. To be honest, I really would wish that Konami would just finally make up their goddamn mind and decide on a spot to put Chaos Sorcerer. Even if they decided that it's going to stay banned, I don't care. Like, even though that, well, to be fair, it doesn't really deserve to get banned, but still, jeez. Like, you don't have to move it here, there, and every bloody where. Just make up your minds and put it somewhere. That's really all I can say on Chaos Sorcerer, so, yeah. The other one at 2 is, what is it, Lone Fire Blossom. Good Lord Almighty, why would you do this? Why in the hell did you do this? I know Sylvans are a thing, but that didn't mean you could put this thing up to 2. It really is beyond... It's... I just meet with disgust, really. I mean, I suppose it's a good thing you're putting Debris Dragon to 1 so that you don't have to abuse the ever-living crap out of Lone Fire that much, but melee of the trees is still a thing. You know, you can still go junk forward Dandelion. I'm surprised that didn't get put to 2, to be fair. If they're going to promote plants that much, they might as well just give us the maximum Dandelion at this bloody rate. But, yeah, Lone Fire to 2... I think it was fine at 1. 2 is just going to make it a bit weird. At least this is really my thoughts on it for now. I mean, the Sylvans could well just flop, you know, when they come out. I think in the next set, but you know, it is something that most of this shit you can never really predict. So it's just so yeah, they're the only 2 semi-limited cards. Now for the newly unlimited, Archlord Christia. Now this is another topic of interest because, I mean, you haven't really seen fairy decks do much. So, and most people will take a look at Christia, but go into 3 and rage at this. But is it really that big a deal? I mean, are people really going to max out on Christias now that they have access to them? To be honest, 3 level 8 fairies that can only special like if you have more than 4 fairies, the thing's going to be dead. I feel like 3 Christias is going to be cloggy. I feel like most people who even play any sort of fairy deck like Aidens or something like that will still only stick with the 2 Christia. I mean, I can only really maybe see 3 Christia being run in something maybe like Counter Fairies, but even then, that's a bit of a stretch. I think Archlord Christia does not need to even be on the ban list at this point. Either that or just get put to 1. It either stays to 3 or stays to 1 or goes to 1, because you're not going to hit it at 2 And if you're not going to hit it to 1, then you might as well put it to 3, because then there's no reason to put it to 2, because hardly anybody's going to run it at 3. So if you're going to hit this thing, you got to hit the bloody thing to 1. But instead they're going to put it the other way and put it to 3, because fairy decks haven't really been doing much, to that I say, fair enough. So, yeah. Next cards. Oh, life itself. Mizuki to 3. God. There is a card in the OCG, well, I think it's on its way out in the OCG, which is going to pretty much break zombies like hell. I greatly fear for this, and the card could actually well get Super Poly banned, finally. It's called Underworld Dragon, Dragon Necro. And the whole idea behind this thing is it's a dragon which requires 2 level 8 zombies. Now, the reason I'm talking about this and not Mizuki is because you have a shit ton more access to monsters on your to field presence with 3 Mizuki and 3 Plague Spreader, that you will pretty much almost always have a monster on the board, and then with the zombie world, all you have to do is have that Super Poly, and the moment they summon even anything, you can just fuse that shit into an Underworld Dragon, Dragon Necro, which I will bring up here, because this thing is bordering on ridiculous. Yeah, here it is. This is incredible. Yeah, like I said, Dragon Fusion, 3000 attack. Any 2 zombie type monsters. Now you just put a zombie world on the field, and you can pretty much just fuse anything into this damn thing. It is bordering on ridiculous. It pretty much is ridiculous. It's 3000 beat stick as well, and as a dragon, people can just arbitrarily sort of tech a dragon's mirror just to put this thing on the board. So, and you know, 3 Mizukis and 3 Plague Spreaders is going to make things incredibly horrid for the opponent, because you're going to have a zombie on the field. That's pretty much a dead set guarantee unless you're running Vanity's Emptiness. This is one of the exact reasons why I still think that Royal Oppression should come back. It really should. It has to come back. I'm sorry, but Royal Oppression needs to come back. We need this thing now more than we need that thing now more than ever. And Plague Spreader, I think is even less. I think is even more outrageous than Mizuki, because at least with Mizuki, you've only really got to focus that around zombie sort of stuff. Plague Spreader, you can splash into Light Swans, Chaos Dragons. You can. It's pretty much just put something on top of your deck, bring it back. You have pretty much as 2 synchros. Not to mention 3 Plague Spreaders and 3 Destiny Hero Militias in the one format. Am I the only one who can see what the hell's wrong with this? What the hell's wrong with this picture? This is incredible. Oh my god. I don't even know anymore. They want to promote zombies, then fine, whatever. If they're going to be dirty, then seriously, just get them the hell out of here come April. That's all I can say. Anyways, so TG Striker. No reason for him to be on the ban list anymore. There really isn't. So I say that to that one, fair play. This is the bastard. So, you know, you could always, with 3 of these, I don't know. I don't know what sort of deck could abuse the crap out of TG Striker aside from TG Agents. I suppose TGs have, I have seen TG Agents sort of related with some certain stun sort of decks and stuff like that. I've had TG Strikers in my old Sino Dragon deck, which at this point I'm now actually considering resurrecting that thing after like a year in exile. So, and I think TG Striker is actually a pretty good bonus, especially since I can. It's because I'm just a bit weird about how I could go about something like this. I could like combine it with maybe Hieratics or something like that, but I don't know. I think this ban list more than anything has given me ideas for decks from the past, if anything. So that's actually a good thing. It re-invokes the fun sense. of the game at this point. And of course, it's a very slow and meticulous process to fix this broken mess of a game. So, at least with this list, I'm starting to think that Konami might actually be working on fixing the game, and might therefore start to give a crap about its players. Wishful thinking. Good lord. So, the red hair. So, this red-haired little piece, this red-haired little bird is coming back to 3. Tour guide from the Underworld. I'm actually quite excited about this because I'm not too sure if it entirely deserved to come back to 3, but like I said, I still see some interesting sort of idea. I still find it to be interesting, and would still like to see how this sort of format will play out with the 3 tour guide. I mean, yeah, Dark Worlds get an additional sort of means to with which to search their brow, which they can like bounce for all that sort of stuff. But yeah, you know, I think I don't think it really did that much to even warrant to remain at 2 in all fairness. So I think just to say for the tour guide, just, you know what, fair enough, you're at 3, we'll just deal with it. If you don't want to deal with it, then just smack yourself in the face, because it's happening. So yeah, deal with it. Constellar Ptolemy M7. Now that, I was actually sort of astonished as to why it got put to 1 in the first place. I mean, I actually have no idea why it got put to 1 in the first place. I really don't. It really should not have even been thought about. I mean, if they were putting it to 1 to hurt Constellars, then they did a terrible job. Because if you're going to hit Constellars, you hit Pleiades. Pleiades is, you ask 10 players about that, guaranteed 9 of them will say you hit Pleiades. The other one will probably be a dick and say Sombre. I mean, I saw a list that hit both Sombre and Correction, and I just laughed at it. Because it was just bordering on ridiculous. It was too immensely horrid for that sort of crud. But, yeah, Ptolemy's back to 3. It really shouldn't have been put to 1 in the first place. It's just, that balance has been restored. I mean, I guess now people can play 2 Ptolemies. And not to mention, they also have 5 formation tanky to 3. This is the last card of the list. Formation tanky. Thank you. This internet's really freaking weird. YouTube tends to be really, really slow and shit, and it just lags up a shitstorm. So yeah, 10 to 3, and of course, reflecting that, the bloody things had to be going for bloody $60 minimum. It's bought. It's just yuck. And it's fine. I mean, it's fine because I'm not a rarity whore, and I just deal with common tankies. But, ugh. But anyways, another element of surprise to put Tenki to 3. I mean, if I'd have thought it was going to go anywhere, I'd have thought it was going to go down to 1. 3 just boosts Fire Fists, of course. It boosts Boojins as well. That's a horrid thing. Boojins now effectively have 6 rotors. 6 free searches, essentially. So, and it's really horrible because you don't really want them to be searching that much. So you'll be wanting to bloody MST their tankies or something like that, which isn't even a good idea because they have back row like most other goddamn decks, it basically throws a massive spanner in the works for this one. So it's just, this one's weird. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it because now I can run a playset of these in Constellars and they'll be full strength now, which is actually kind of cool. So you can definitely expect me to be running Constellars next format, which is awesome sauce. So, but aside from that, you know, I think like Fire Fists never got hit. Mermails didn't hit enough, which was the one part that pissed me off. Evil Storms didn't get hit, which I didn't really care about because I mean I had the deck and I sort of liked the deck, so I suppose I'm not really complaining about that. Aside from that, I'm just sort of disappointed that Rabbit's still at 1. And of course, Stratos still being banned. I don't think I've actually established this yet because I never did a ban list thoughts video in the last list because it pissed me off way too much and I would have just gone on a rant and gotten so many bloody hate and shit. But Stratos does not deserve to be in the ban list. It was fine at 1. That is all I will say. Economy, seriously. Memo, note for April. Bring my Stratos back to me. And bring Richie Stratos back to him as well. He's about as ticked off about it as I am. So, that's pretty much it. That is the ban list. It shits all over September's. It actually makes for a somewhat interesting format, even because I think there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 decks up in tier 1 this format, which actually means that there's going to be a whole bunch of diversity as to who's going to win this, that, and the next bloody thing. It's not just going to be Dragon Rulers and Dragon Rulers 9 times Gears for that other 1 time, like it was this format. To which I say fair play to the Gear player for knocking over those dragons and winning that YCS Tyrion. Fair play to the guy. So yeah, that's it. I don't plan on doing any deck lists until the start of the new year. It's just a weird sort of thing of mine. So at this point, this would be the last Yu-Gi-Oh based video of the year. And unless I decide to go, and unless I stop being lazy and go for and finish up my Soul Silver, do my Elite Four and my Soul Silver. Let's record. If I don't get around to do, if I'm not lazy, if I don't, cannot speak. Basically, okay. Let's just restart that. This is my last Yu-Gi-Oh based video of the year. If I continue to be lazy and decide to not do the Soul Silver Elite Four, at some point soon, then this will be my last video of the entire year. If that's the case, then wishing to all a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, blah 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 blah, and guess I'll probably see us on the 2014 side. So yeah.